If you're new here, I'm a 4th year med student in the middle of the whole residency application process. So I'm currently not on a rotation now. It's like the end of October, and I'm just kind of chilling, working on research stuff. I've already submitted my application and gotten 6 interview invites so far, but tomorrow most of the programs are supposed to release their interview invites. So that's a little scary. If you're not super familiar with the process, a lot of times residency interview slots will disappear within a matter of minutes. So especially when a program announces that they're sending out their interviews at a certain time, everyone's going to be sitting there waiting and the slots are going to go super fast. Plus, most programs only have a few interview dates, so it can be hard to schedule your interviews in a way that don't conflict with other interviews. So tomorrow's the day. I'm hoping to get a bunch of invites and really hoping that they don't conflict or overlap or anything like that. Hey guys, it is Wednesday and it's about 12. I've only gotten 2 interview invites so far, so it's not the huge rush that I was afraid of, but at least I'm still getting invites. So I'm up to 9 now. I did get one last night at like 10 o'clock at night, which is weird. But I feel like I'm up to a decent number now, and I know this is still just the start for a lot of programs, so hopefully there will be more coming in the next few days. But in the meantime, I've secured the goods, the pumpkin spice latte, to help me get through all this scheduling and working on research. I just got 2 more invites at the same time, plus trying to email coordinators to set up the residency social date. Hey guys, today's my first interview. So today is for a program in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It looks like a smaller community program, but it seems very cool. The residents seem very happy. So far we've just gotten a little presentation about the program, and we're about to start our individual interview soon. So I'm going to be interviewing with 3 faculty members, and apparently that will take like all day. Are you interviewing, Muffin? Are you going to be a surgery resident? Are you going to be a surgery resident? What are you doing? What are you doing? Interview number 1 is done. It was very short. They're only 20 minutes, so it went by very quickly, but it was good. I feel like most of it was me asking questions to them, but they were very nice. The thing is, there's just so much downtime between interviews because there's only 3 people interviewing and a bunch of candidates, so there's a lot of waiting in between interviews that I didn't expect. Hey guys, so it's Thursday. I had my first interview yesterday, and tonight I had a little pre-interview social for West Virginia University. We just met with some of the residents in just like a casual setting and just asked questions, got to know a little bit about the program and what the residents think. Don't really know what I think as far as my impression for this program versus the one I interviewed at yesterday, but the interview is tomorrow morning, so we'll see. Hey guys, so it is like not even 9:30 and I'm already done. They gave just a quick little introduction, and then I interviewed with 3 faculty members and a couple of residents, and it was good. They all talked about my YouTube channel and they talked about the LGBTQ community, and the program director was talking about how he has a pride flag in his yard and loves, you know, diversity and inclusion. That was very comforting to hear. Hey guys, so I don't think I've vlogged recently. I just interviewed with my home program, which was strange because, you know, we already know them and know a lot about the program and have experienced the culture and everything. And like the program's fine, but it just like felt weird. Plus the people interviewing us, you know, we know them, they've worked with us, so it just felt weird to be interviewing with them. I don't feel great just because a lot of the questions were like negatively focused. You know, like what do you think you'll struggle with most in residency and what's your biggest weakness? And a lot of those like very negative questions that usually people balance out with positive questions, but in this case they didn't. You guys, I got a package from one of the programs I applied to. I'm so excited to see what's in it. It's a little postcard with a handwritten note. Crab seasoned chips. Burgers, they look like cookies or some kind of pastry. Old Bay hot sauce. A mug with some candy in it. This is so cute! Guys, I just finished an interview and I love this program. Like, I think this is my #1. Everyone is so amazing, and this is literally like the most supportive program I've seen. Like, the residents are the happiest residents. I love it. And the interview went awesome. It's just such a great place. Y'all, I have interviews every day this week. Like a social every night and then an interview every morning. Today is Tuesday and I'm interviewing at like this small community program in North Carolina. It seems like it's very geared toward preparing you for private practice and not fellowship, so I don't know how much I'm gonna like it, but you know, maybe I'll be surprised. But it's literally interviewing with like 8 different faculty members from 8 a.m. to like 11 non-stop interviews back to back. So that sounds very tiring, but we'll see. It starts in like 3 minutes. So just some last minute, making sure I look okay, making sure my cat doesn't run anything. Oh, speaking of, it's been a long day. It was a little bit disorganized, but a lot of the questions were focused on getting to know me rather than, you know, focusing on my accomplishments and stuff like that. And so I feel like that reflects a lot on the program by, you know, they really care about their residents as people. This is number 8. This is number 9. I'm so tired of Zoom interviews. I got coffee in my little mug that the program director sent to all of us. So I did the 9 interviews in November, and then I had a week off for Thanksgiving, and I started a new rotation in rural emergency medicine. So I've been doing that a little bit, and now it's December, and I've had 2 more interviews yesterday and today. Yesterday was really good. I'm not really sure about the interview itself, because part of it was really great, and then there were some things where I just completely like fumbled the questions, and I know that, and that was not great, but I really feel like that might be my #1 program. It has all the opportunities I need, and everyone was really nice. The program director is amazing and was very impressed with my application. Today though, I don't even want to say the name of the program. It was a mess. It was so disorganized, and a lot of the interviewers didn't even show up, and they didn't really offer a lot of information during the interview day. There wasn't really any time to ask questions, so I still feel like I don't really know anything about the program. So I have one more interview next week, and that will be all I have until January. I am still doing that rural emergency medicine rotation, but I'm off this week, so I'll be staying up there for a couple of weeks and then go home for Christmas. It has been a minute since I've been vlogging. I am on surgical oncology right now, and I'm working like 15 hours a day, so I haven't had a ton of free time. I just literally just finished my 14th interview out of 15, so I have 1 more next week and then I'm done. There is something so exhausting about sitting in front of my computer and answering questions. So I had a pretty long break from interviews because I had my rural rotation that I'm making my vlog for now, and then I started my surg-onc rotation right after Christmas, and that has been super fun but super busy. So I had 2 interviews this week. They're both programs that I didn't care as much about. so it's kind of lower pressure. But yeah, I just have one more and then I'm gonna be done and get to start thinking about doing second looks and visiting campuses and things like that. My last interview of the season. I'm so ready to be done. I'm so ready to be done. I did it! I'm done with interviews. Hey guys, so it is March. Hi Muffin. Interviews are over. I've submitted my rank list and now I am just waiting for match day in a couple weeks. I'm done with all my rotations and everything and I am just kind of chilling. So I am going to talk to you about my overall interview experience and some tips for those of you going into interviews in the next year or two. So I applied to 55 programs and I interviewed at 15 and then I ranked 14 of those programs on my rank list. Overall, I actually really enjoyed the interviews. It felt very, very different than med school interviews, where they're just trying to see if you're a good candidate and an ethical person. In residency interviews, they were all very impressed with our applications and who we were as candidates, and they were trying to impress us as much as they wanted us to impress them. So it was all very positive. Everyone was super friendly and nice. And everyone was really heavily trying to promote their programs to recruit us. The interviews themselves were usually structured with an hour of just information about the program and the area and the hospital system. Then after that, we would usually interview with anywhere from 3 to up to 5 or 6 faculty members, and also some chief residents. These interviews were about 15 to 20 minutes each. The whole day was usually just about a half day. I did have one interview that went late into the afternoon, but otherwise they were usually 3 or 4 hours tops, and that included lots of breaks in between interviews. The interviews themselves were your typical questions. Tell me about yourself, tell me about a time that you had this situation or that you failed at something or you handled a conflict. So these interviews were just a couple of questions for me and then what questions do I have for them. So that was the time to really get to know the program and the faculty. I typically asked about the way that they support residents who are going through a difficult time, needing some extra support. I also asked about fellowship opportunities and if I would be limited in my pursuit of any particular subspecialties from that program. So overall, it was a good experience. I personally was glad they were virtual because that meant I could do 15 without having to worry about the cost of traveling, but I do understand that it's very hard to really get the feel for a program. I was very lucky that I was able to visit my top 3 programs in person. They all had an in-person open house where we could tour the hospital and actually talk to the residents in person, which was very helpful. But most programs had a pre-interview social the night before the actual interview, which was a little bit awkward over Zoom, but we would be able to chat with the residents and ask them any questions we had, and that was a really great way to assess the vibe of the program and how well the residents get along with each other outside of work. I would highly recommend going to as many as you can because that was such a good way to get all my little detailed questions answered and to really get to know the vibe of the program. But my number one piece of advice coming out of this is that you should absolutely write down every little detail, literally everything they mention in the whole introductory presentation, just everything. Write it all down because you have no idea what's going to be important to you when you're actually making your rank list. Because the things that I was prioritizing in the beginning of the interview trail were very, very different than the things that were actually important to me when I was making my rank list. And so I wish I had just written down every little detail. I kept a little notebook where I wrote down all my notes and the answers to all of the questions, and I would write down who I interviewed with and what we talked about. That made writing emails easier after the interviews because it's a good courtesy to send them an email thanking them for interviewing you. So that was helpful to stay on track of all that. So if you're going into interviews in the next year or two, good luck. It's a wild experience and I can't believe that I'm actually here and about to hopefully match and go into residency. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel for similar videos in the future. Thanks for watching.